GLAUDI's glamorous power suits for women. Yes, put your hands together. We are in church on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. Put your hands together right now. I want to introduce to you the woman, the millennial, the powerhouse who went from Compton to Couture, from Milan to Paris to Beverly Hills as one of the only Latina fashion designers here in this great city of luxury. She is a powerhouse entrepreneur who champions the success in every woman. Joanna Hernandez!
Hi everyone, thank you for coming today.
Who were your role models and why was it important for you to assemble just a powerful group of women phenoms today?
So for me, growing up, I've had my role models are my mom and also my faith, in God. Even now, I know it's sometimes hard for all of you to find a mentor because usually mentors are very busy. They're busy people because they're, leaving their legacy. So I'm so happy to make this panel because you can actually learn from all these women that, are very busy, but they make time to share. And they've taken, the careers have been so long of all of them. And I'm just so happy to be here. And I think for all of you looking for a mentor, role model, and even the people, I think, like I was talking to Eva and you were saying, I never stop learning. She's a PhD doctor, and she's like, I never stop learning. When you stop learning, you die. And I'm like, I don't want to die. So no matter what level you're in, you're going to learn something from here. And I'm just happy that if you didn't have a role model or you want to be a role model in the future, this is a place to get inspired.
Ladies, please join me. Our presenting sponsor, City National Bank Executive Vice President of City National, Linda Duncombe. Please give her a warm welcome. Pretend this is church, my friend. One of the most powerful women in banking variety since 2019 has named her one of the most powerful women in Hollywood because she banks with the stars. She is the leader of that bank with the stars, does Grammys and all the actors and media companies, and also supports GLAUDI. Of course she does. Put your hands together for Linda Duncombe. Our next panelist, please welcome, is three-time mayor Lili Bosse in pink and satin in her GLAUDI vest. Put your hands together. This is one of the most powerful leaders in politics in the Southland. We're so lucky to have her. Lili Bosse, our mayor. No one knows how to build trust in community as Lili. The next, Kika Rocha. She is the fashion and beauty director for People Magazine in Espanol, award-winning journalist, author, and beauty expert, whose new book on style tips to give us all a head start for the spring is coming out very soon, and fuchsia looking magnificent. Our next panelist is Dr. PhD, Dr. Eva Colter, who joins us from Netflix, where she is the Vice President of Talent Acquisition, a true champion of equity and inclusion, a woman that does it all, a true role model. Come on, people, put your hands together. And not last but not least, Liliana Perez. She is the Cultural Affairs Director for the LA Chargers. Put it together, my friends. We got sports, we got banking, we got politics, we got beauty. Give them a warm welcome. These are your role models today. Please, ladies, sit down.
It's important for us to give back to our communities, and Beverly Hills is where we started. We were started by entrepreneurs, and Joanna, I think, just is a role model of that. And so being involved, not just because she's my friend and she inspires me, things for the community. So we have beautiful clothes. I feel like a princess today, and also she does so much to give back to the communities.
She certainly does. She does good and does well at the same time, which is a mark of a true entrepreneur and woman in business. You came from humble beginnings from Australia and then came to the U.S. and basically shattered every glass ceiling to be at the very tops of what is considered a man's world in finance. How'd you do it?
Parents who were super supportive and said that I could be anything I wanted to be, and I wanted to live in America. And not to put it down on the day, but my brother had passed away, and my mum was like, what are you waiting for? Like, you've got to go live your dreams. And I came to America, and every day has been a gift for me. I'm so grateful to be here, and I've always been of the belief that if you can't do something, then you haven't tried hard enough. And I will have no regrets in life. And so I'm very lucky that I'm here because a lot of support from my parents, and my dad has since passed away, a lot of support from my parents, and just the belief that every day is a gift, you've got to make the most of it. So that is my thing.
What's your secret to succeeding and holding strong in an area that's defined by particularly banking and men?
Yeah, it is definitely a male-dominated industry, but I'm very grateful to work for Kelly Coffey, CEO of the National Bank, and has been supporting women for decades and really wanting to push women through and giving them an opportunity, because we don't ask as much as our male counterparts. It's just a fact, and so she encourages us to do that. And we were started by entrepreneurs for those that weren't being welcomed in their local communities, and so it's ingrained in us for almost 70 years. And even just last Thursday, Kelly hosted a dinner and we had 8 young startup female businesses, and everybody in the room was like, how do we help them? So not just from a banking perspective, but creating networks, getting them in front of the right people so they can ask the questions and ask for help and get support. We do it at the grassroots, and I love that. I back.
And it's also a very personal experience for anyone who's banked at City National. I know that firsthand. They make you feel like a billionaire no matter how much you have in the deposit. So something to consider. Lili Bosse, 3-time mayor of Beverly Hills. First of all, give us a welcome to your fine city.
Thank you. First of all, welcome to Beverly Hills! This is the first time that we've done anything like this, and that is because of the vision of Joanna. And I have to also share that during the time when it was COVID, she had the vision of doing a fashion show, and it was a drive-by fashion show. Thank you. To me, it's really about connection and community. And for me, it's about from the inside out. It's sharing your heart, having an open heart and an open mind and connection. So by that, it's the power of community. And everyone knows I'm very accessible. I give everyone my cell phone. Anybody here who wants my cell phone, it's really, and I mean that with all my heart. It's really about connection and being together and being accessible and really hearing from the heart, from the inside out.
Don't you wish all our political leaders gave you their local cell phones so you could reach out to them and say, this is what I care about, this is what I need. Kika, Rocha, I looked to her for style, People Magazine in Espanol. She creates the content, sets the trends. She has an eye for fashion and knows what the future holds. How do you hold true to your beliefs in an industry that is so filled with opinion and folks that say this is what the style is? How do you stay true to your own self to create the styles that you say are the trendsetters for today?
You said it. Stay true to yourself. Follow your heart. And look at yourself in the mirror too and see what you need. Be smart about looking at yourself with love, and that's the most important thing. Self-esteem is the road to everything. Trends come and go, but when you find that style and you find what you need to be your best, that's the smartest investment you can do.
Put your hands together because you want to know how to look your best, feel your best inside about yourself, look in the mirror and say, I am freaking fabulous. Can you all say that? Put your hands together. Come on, it's cold outside. Thank you, Colter. This is a woman that does it all. You want a role model, top executive at Netflix, in charge of talent and acquisition, a mother, a powerhouse couple with a gorgeous Michael Colter, actor, and her beautiful daughter, and another child as well. You're a mother, you're a powerhouse couple, you're a head of a big media giant. I know, I used to hate these questions as a woman, but it's so relevant now, and she actually has strategies. How do you do it all?
How do I do it? It's a daily struggle, I would say. It's not easy, but looking in my daughter's eyes every morning, it just makes it all worth it. And I did have a role model in my professional career who once set me down when I was really hard on myself, feeling like I could either be this amazing executive or I can be a great mom. And she just said, you have to let that go. You know, it's not about perfection every day. You'll have one day when you're an amazing executive, and maybe not the best mom in every single detail, but that's okay. The next day, you reverse it. Ultimately, you were perfect in both ways. You just have to let the guilt go. And that, to me, was a complete unlock. And I think that's ultimately what just pushed me forward, just knowing that, yes, you can do it all. If you have the right support system, and I do. I have my husband here who's very supportive, and my daughters are. And like I said, it's not every day is going to be perfect, but you just keep trying and, you know, making mistakes, getting back up there, and that's it.
All right, last but not least, Liliana Perez. She is the Culture Affairs Director for the LA Chargers. Give her some love! You gotta take a moment, let the music just play out. This girl is on fire. She just recently received the MVP award from the NFL. This is a male-dominated arena, and she's shining bright as a woman in sports. And also the People in Espanol, the MVP for 2022. You left a government job, working in politics for 25 years, made the transition to sports. First of all, were you a sports girl? And more importantly, for all of us who want to make a transition in life and want to do something different, go, yeah, but that's not my, my bailiwick. How did you do it?
Hola, 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 ¿cómo están? ¿Me escuchan? Ah, no, qué aguados, qué aguados. A ver, ¿se escuchan? ¡Eso! Thank you so much, mi preciosa hermosa, who's always been shedding your light. So thank you. And I'm honored to be part of this amazing, stellar panel of amazing chingonas. I dare say so myself. Con mucho, I'm not gonna, probably because I have attention deficit disorder itself diagnosed, I'm gonna just respond to this. I am here because I am my mother's promise. I am here because I'm an immigrant, undocumented, very determined, out of Pico Union, and said, there's no such thing as obstacles, only opportunities. Wow. So no means yes later, at this point. So, in terms of being able to make the transition from 25 years in public service, working for 6 speakers of the state assembly, 1 governor, now being able to have an incredible career with the Los Angeles Chargers. Pero no tan solo eso. I was invited. And I was invited by my dear, wonderful jefe, Fred Mass. And then I said, okay. He says, what does it take for you to get here? And I said, wait a minute. I don't know anything about football. How is this possible? And by the way, I'm a midlife woman in transition, so I'm proud to say I was in my 50-something. I'm 52 right now, but I'm proud to say that I was like reaching my 50s, and when I made the transition. So, and nothing can hold you back except yourself. That one I'm very clear about right now, because I'm honored. My grounding is always. I don't have a child, but I have my 19-year-old. So I'm a proud caregiver of my mother. She's my first passion and love. So she's the one who tells me what's important every day and every moment. So what's important in my life is always to be good. Why I made the transition from politics to the private sector, politics to the NFL, politics to basically my beautiful LA Charger family is because I believe in people, because people believed in me. So it's as simple as that, and I'm Mexican, so that's why I'm gonna give you a preamble.
Las mexicanas, las latinas, por aplauso! So Linda, as Vice President of City National, there are so many women who want access to capital to grow their businesses. They need financial support, they need financial literacy. Why? Because we want to shatter every glass ceiling in our own right. How do we do that? How does City National support and help and empower women to grow and expand in their businesses?
So look, I think for us, we were started by entrepreneurs when in Beverly Hills there was a Jewish community and they weren't welcomed into the bank, so they started their own bank. And so we, from our very first day have gone, you have to be inclusive to everybody. And when Kelly came as our CEO, we're like, okay, there was already diversity in our organisation because let's double down on women. We can do a lot more here, and we saw that during COVID when even within our organisation, women were leaving the workforce, but our numbers increased, and we made sure of that. And at the very grassroots level, we'll connect people, we help them finance, we help them get the right connections, and so even there's charities that are women-led where myself and Samantha Davies, who's here today, we get involved, we help them from a literacy perspective, marketing, advertising. And so it's at any opportunity that we can do it, whether it's from a banking, which you might think is traditional for us, but we do so much more than we use our networks and our connections to put them in front of the right people. So I'm very lucky to work at a company that wants to be supporting everybody, but with a female CEO like Kelly Coffey, she's very much about let's make sure we can reach everybody, especially women who don't seem to be as comfortable about raising their hand and asking for help. as our counterparts, the guys seem to do that a lot easier than we do. It's a fact, sorry.
And Kelly and Linda make you feel like a billionaire at whatever level you're banking and provide that kind of support and empowerment that you need. I know that firsthand. So is there a testimonial, a client that is really emblematic of the success story of your support?
Thank you. I don't want to go back to COVID, but it was such a massive, I think, impact on all of us. And when basically the world stopped and people still needed to get funding and get access to money, and the government was very good with the PPP support loan, and we had a lot of clients that reached out to us, but a lot that didn't, that weren't clients. They're going, hey, we can see National Bank is really pushing this through the pipes really quickly. And you may have heard of the charity Homeboy Industries, which helps rehabilitate gang members and people that have come out of jail and serve their time, and they couldn't get their PPP loan through their existing bank. And so we did that within 48 hours. We built a platform that allowed us to be able to do that a lot easier for our clients. Thank you.
Yay, thanks.
And we did that for a lot of community and clients. We actually did over 26,000 loans and $6.2 billion. And if you think about the size of our company, we always punch above our weight. And
Lili, you are such a role model to so many of us. We look to you for your leadership and how you've been able to do it 3 times, get elected with your vision and sell your vision. Who are some of your role models?
Definitely, this is an easy one for me. It's my mother. My mom also was an immigrant and a survivor of Auschwitz. And I grew up every day of my life with a woman who told me 2 things that I carry with me every day, and that is to never give up, and even if it's a cloudy day, that there's a sun behind the clouds. So I grew up with a woman that went through the hardest thing in life and had such a positive attitude and told me every day to keep going and to never give up. So she is my role model, and I take her with me everywhere I go.
Viva la mama! Put your hands together for all the mothers that we so admire and on whose shoulders we stand. Kika, you came from Colombia and literally built your career from scratch, and look at you now. Did you have a role model, a mentor that helped inspire you to move forward in your trajectory?
Lili said it. I carry the name of my grandmother and my mother, Maria Francisca. When you listen to the Kika, that's the short version because I couldn't say Francisca, I could say Kika. And then you get the Kika from that. But carrying those names is a responsibility. And my grandmother was a fabulous woman. She was not just stylish, she worked in the fields. And you would see her at the end of the day, she planted rice and cotton. She would come back and she would always dress up for dinner. Even if we were in the countryside, there would be always something nice and clean, and she would always wear a fragrance. So seeing her work and do all these things was inspiring to me. She had that thing, and they call her Doña Maria Francisca. So it's a challenge to carry that name. They were my role models. My mother also, and all the aunts that surrounded me, they had fun with style. They gave me that confidence, and it's not the brand, and it's not the amount of money you have. It's how you put it together, how you enjoy the process of doing it. So with those role models, I'm here.
You have an amazing stance on diversity at Netflix that we all so admire. Why is inclusion, diversity, and equity so important for all companies to have everyone represented at the table?
Yeah, I think inclusion and diversity is at the core of innovation. You cannot succeed as a company without having everybody at the table. It's incredibly important. It's been something that's been personal to me as a mother of an interracial child. Professionally, it's been something I've dedicated my whole life to. I currently sit on the board of the National Hispanic Media Coalition. Brenda Castillo, the president, is here today. Hi, Brenda. And so it's something that I feel, you have to apply yourself to every single day. Everyone deserves an opportunity, an equitable opportunity. It's not something that's a stand. It's not something that you just put as a diversity quote on your website. It's something that you have to live and breathe. And I think it's without that, like I said, as a company, you're not going to make progress. You're not going to be able to innovate. And so it's just, it matters incredibly. And you have to live it, not just talk about it.
Do you feel that women's voices, women's stories, women behind the camera and in front are getting more presence in Hollywood?
I do. I mean, I will say not enough. There's still a lot of work to be done, but it's moving in the right direction. Yes, I got some love in there. You know that there's definitely a lot more work that needs to be done, for sure.
Liliana is emblematic of so much because sometimes you say, well, I don't have the background in that, or, I never did that before. Why would I be able to start something new? Well, we always have a new rendition with ourselves. Sometimes we have to surprise ourselves what we can do. We don't know what's in our toolbox to be able to exercise. Liliana, that was you. You were not a sports girl, were you?
I was not a private sector girl either. But when I don't know, those of you in the audience, if you're privileged, God bless you. It's beautiful. For those of you, the rest of us, who grew up being incredibly economically disenfranchised, in poverty, and in very violent homes, very violent communities, all we know is to be resourceful. All we know is to be able to do with what we have. Exactly, and so you know that. Those of you who are cheering on, you know your innovative bone in your body. So when you come into these roles, you say, I would dare say, con mucho gusto, and I would say, ¿Quién pone los huevos? La gallina. So I want to say, that's a little side joke for those of you who speak Spanish. But I just want to say, being audacious is not a privilege. It's a necessity to survive. Being audacious, especially when you have nothing around you, and you only have is your hands, your heart, but hopefully you always lead with integrity, because I will never step on anybody to reach where I'm at. I will always pull up everybody to be able to say, I cannot be the only one.
Liliana for president!
I have learned that it's important, and I think this sentence works for all of us here. Listen to serve. If you listen to what women out there need, then you can give them something that they're looking for, that they are expecting. And in my case, I learned to look at the mirror, and I suggest you all do this. Look at the mirror, look at yourselves in the mirror with kindness. Kindness and love. We hit ourselves so hard, our comments. We are the worst judges. You look, oh, you look shabby today. Oh, instead of that, like Giselle says, you are fabulous, you are magnificent, and you can do whatever you want. And then let that shine every day. So that's how I do it. That's how I turn to those tips. Nothing works if you don't have that self-esteem and that love to become your better self. You don't have to be a slave of everything that's going on. Learn to be smart. Learn to invest in yourself. And that's the way you can make it happen and create your own style. And now we're free to do it. Don't become a slave of anybody's, whatever they're saying, trends here, to this, to that. No. Follow what works for you and be smart. Be smart and be lovable. Kind to yourself.
So, Eva Colter, now running, talent and acquisition at Netflix. You couldn't have a bigger job, shatter more glass ceilings. But here's the thing. She was once a PhD professor teaching feminism in college. Hello! Bringing all that knowledge, that sensibility, that wisdom to a streamer. How does that work for you, and how did you make the transition?
Surprisingly, and not surprisingly, I had a role model. I got to the conclusion that as much as I love the act of teaching and really helping to form people's minds and really teach them how to think critically, that's a real skill, and without that, you'll always be a follower, not a leader. I think you have to have a critical thinking ability, and so that's something I was really passionate about teaching. But at some point I got to this crossroads where I felt, I love teaching, not as much the academic pursuit of just sitting in the library on my own, publishing, putting books out there. It just felt lonely and it felt self-serving. And so I got to that crossroads, and I followed a role model, someone that was dear to my heart and was also a college professor, and went on his own and built a search firm, and I ended up just making the transition, kind of reinventing myself, and ultimately still feel that in the space that I'm in, I am helping. I am creating opportunities for people that would not have had the opportunity otherwise. So it's similar path, it's a different road to get to it, and I really enjoy it. It's a passion.
All right, we're in the final speed round before you get to see all the glamorous GLAUDI fashions. But here's the most important question of our panelists. Please listen closely. You'll want to take home these gems. I'll start with you, Liliana. Number one tip, when we get insecure, when we feel like we're imposters, when we feel like we're faking it to make it, and you just have to get up every day and break through that day and break through that challenge and be your best. What's your best tip to just get out there and do it anyway?
I will say, before the tip, my source. My mother, who's terminally ill and who has dementia, teaches me day in and day out what is important. And the feeling is how do you make people feel when you leave the room? That's it. How do you make people feel when you leave the room? So be authentically you, uncompromisingly authentically you.
Beautiful. Pueden sus manos a aplausos. Eva, how do you silence the negativity, the doubt, the insecurity, the imposter syndrome? As women, you know we go through that. It doesn't matter what it looks like on the outside. The inside feels it, every one of us. How do you get through that and still shine and put out your best?
I think it's exactly that. You have to realize that you are the worst enemy to yourself. And I think that once you kind of tap into that and realize, you know, I can't do that to myself, I have to believe, because it gives you a few minutes, right? You have to believe you're fabulous, you're worthy, you deserve every opportunity, and you have to really lead with that mentality and push through.
That's the Phenum's secret weapon that you often put in your toolbox. Kika, you give so many beautiful tips on how we feel beautiful in our best selves. What's the greatest beauty tip you can give us so we can feel confident when we walk out in the day?
Be fearless. Look at fear in the face and it becomes smaller and smaller and smaller. So it just fades away. And then one other thing to look down is always take a picture of yourself. Use your cell phone. We all have cell phones. Take a picture before going out and check, because that never lies. And then you can correct a few things that you'll be fine.
And be kind to yourself. Don't hold yourself up to those filter standards. Who wants a perfection? We want to be perfectly imperfect. Lili, what's your best advice to lead in the direction of our dreams, no matter the obstacles?
For me, it's always about love. I value loving, and to me, it's love. So on those days, I value the fact that I give love and I try to look at everybody with love, because I know that everybody is carrying something. And if we can be kind to one another, and if we can give them love no matter what, then we can get through anything every day.
How do we define our real worth?
I think you have to be true to yourself. It's like you have to wake up in the morning. I mean, we've said this across the panel with amazing women and Giselle moderating. Like, you're going to be tougher on yourself than anyone's ever going to be to you. And you have to be true. Like, I had the joy and the innocence that I had as a child. Every day is a gift. And I think you have to be, your value is about how you feel about yourself and what you give to other people. And I just want to say hello to Ryan and Blake, gorgeous girls, who remind me that there are the smallest things in life that you sometimes walk past and do not appreciate, and you should stop and literally smell the roses. Enjoy the moments with your loved ones. Have those moments where you can look back and go, I may have not done this, but I remember having this with people that I love. You have to love yourself before you can love other people. I truly believe that.
Ladies, please stand with me. Come forward so that you can all see the rainbow power suits of powerhouse women leading in every field.